Boot it up, don't crash today. Wi-Fi's moody, that's okay. Coffee's loading, brain's still light. Callie's locked in, Techie's tagged. We're logging in with Callie and Techie. Callie bringing culture. Techie talks Techie. Stories, culture, updates too. It's logging in, brought to you. System ready, slightly unstable. You're logging in for fault, boredom not found. You're logging in, best show around.
Well, we made it to, what is this, episode 16 of Logging In?
16, 17, I don't know. I'm just logged in as long as I'm here.
Some number.
Right.
An
There's so much going on.
An apparent number of some sort that is above
Right.
1.
Right. Exactly.
No,
exactly.
I've
What's going on with the weather out there?
Oh my goodness, the weather's just keeps getting more and more interesting. It's having a good time. I'll leave it at that. I mean, it's that, and I've been dealing with all these Jewish holidays and stuff, so it's basically it's funny because it's like I've been trying to figure out the best way of explaining what the holiday of Purim is. And it just so happens that somebody that we know who happens not to be Jewish gave a really good explanation for me, which is it's a combination of Halloween in that you have costumes, April Fool's Day in that everything's over the top silly, and Thanksgiving in the fact that everybody's kind of grateful that we survived.
Oh,
and there's a big meal,
Yeah, that's an interesting description. Halloween, April Fools, and Thanksgiving. Okay,
right? Because you're
together.
Yeah, you wear costumes. You go through all these the story of what took place, and essentially, it goes and it says at the end of the story that the big thing that you're supposed to do is instead of like the whole thing that happens on Halloween, we're essentially the way of best saying it is instead of a case where it's I'm trying to figure out the best way of saying it, but instead of you going to someone's door and taking, it's all about going to someone's door to give to them, which is a very different factor.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's a totally...
Yeah, it's the opposite.
It's the total opposite.
Well, it is, and then, I mean, Halloween, it's like give and take, because you're knocking on the door and you're taking, but somebody's giving. So wait. You know, it's an exchange. It's an exchange of sorts, I guess you can say.
No, we joke, though, that there's an orange
But
exchange.
you're not getting, you're just giving, right?
You're just giving, you're not getting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the whole thing is you're supposed to go and find somebody to go and to give for you so that you're not giving directly.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so a lot of people will go and they'll hand you a bunch of gifts and then say, hey, can you bring this to this person, this person, this person, this person? And it's not even your gifts that you're bringing.
Oh, wow. So the other person is giving gifts on behalf of.
Right, because essentially you don't necessarily directly give. You try not to. At least for two people, you go and you make sure that you're not directly giving. But the question becomes, why is this so important to talk about right now? What is the relevance of it? And that is that the story of Purim took place in, wait for it, Iran.
Whoa. And that is one of the first topics on hand for me.
Yep. That's why when I saw that, because back then it was known as Persia.
Right.
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 So the thing is that because of whatever's been going on with Iran, now you've got all of these Jewish people that are going onto airplanes, supposedly. They're booking travel to go to the gravesite of Queen Esther and her uncle Mordecai.
Is that right?
Right, because the tomb is available for anybody to go in now because of this whole Iran thing. And everybody's been saying, like, the timing has been really interesting because Israel and America struck right before Purim started.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, everybody's like, is this a coincidence? Or did they actually go and sit there and say to themselves, hey, before this holiday happens, let's strike the area that the story's all about? I don't know.
Yeah, it can get really heavy because, here on the Christian side, Christian community, and I know that we're not really that type of show, but just to throw this in, it's like, biblical prophecy, so that these type of things were supposed to happen when they're happening. So it can get really heavy. But
oh no, I can imagine. But that's why I just find the whole thing fascinating because it's like it's an extra layer that's not even being discussed. But then I'm hearing in the Arab world, they're discussing that, oh well, this attack took place during Ramadan. In which case I had to look up and I'd be like, oh my goodness, so you've got Ramadan that's going on where I guess they fast. And then you have Purim that's about to happen. And then I don't know what's happening in the American calendar.
It's heavily being discussed in the Christian community.
Interesting.
Heavily. A lot of biblical references. Absolutely.
All right, so lead us into the story with Iran. But I wanted to at least, before we even talked about that topic, that we at least put that context in there. Because again, from what I'm seeing from the news media, I don't think they're talking about how deep this goes, of that you've got this Jewish holiday that has to do with Iran.
Yeah. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get that in the hot topics and the headlines. No, you're going to get, what we've been getting. And in regards to that, we're looking at the Trump and the Iran escalation. What are we on Wednesday? Well, on Monday, President Trump, he spoke to CNN in a phone interview, and in his words, he said the U.S. military has been knocking the crap out of Iran, and he thinks it's going very well. It's very powerful, and that we, as far as we, the U.S., we've got the greatest military in the world, and we're using it. He also added that the big wave had not even happened yet.
Okay.
He said he originally expected the conflict to last about 4 weeks, claiming that the operations were ahead of schedule. But at the same time, he acknowledged that he had been surprised by the scale of Iran's retaliation. So, they're not going down without a fight. He said that the negotiations with Iran had fallen apart, particularly over uranium enrichment, and suggested military force was now the only viable option. When asked about leadership in Iran, he said it's unclear who might emerge next. It's interesting that he said, though, that the negotiations had fallen apart, but we hadn't heard anything about it. He also mentioned, now I'm going off the top of my head, just other things that I saw in the headlines. He mentioned about, that their nuclear weaponry, that was, there was great concern about that. But I don't know if you remember, but in June, we sent military strikes over there and supposedly bombed all of their options as far as nuclear weaponry and things that can be that can impact the U.S. Well, now it's all of a sudden an issue again. But I thought we got rid of everything in June. That's what he said. So, it's just concerning to everybody, because if this was an imminent threat and, it's all legit, well, why wasn't the proper protocols followed? Why was Congress not involved? Why did it just happen in the middle of the night and nobody was aware? Nobody saw it coming, so I don't know, but this whole thing about the big wave hasn't even happened yet. That's just suggesting that, it's going to escalate even further. I saw something on Twitter today that said that it's rumored, so it hasn't been confirmed, but that Iran is like sending messages like they're willing to talk and start negotiating, and that the U.S. said, no, not going to happen. Not now. So, but, I don't know. And saying that the diplomacy has stalled over, the uranium enrichment, it's just things that we never heard about. It's like we're hearing about it after a fact. Oh, after the fact, excuse me. Oh, well, it's because of this. Oh, well, it's because of that. And again, if everything was legitimate and on the table, and there was real grave concern about the impact to the U.S., how come it wasn't laid out, for Congress, and the proper protocols weren't followed, because again, now they're saying that it's illegal because he didn't follow the proper protocols and all that type of stuff. But it's just like, well, why didn't he? I don't know. I don't know. And then we bombed Ecuador. We launched an attack on Ecuador out of nowhere. Where'd that come from? Where did that come from? So it's just like, wait a minute, we're over here all the way in Iran. Now we're over here in Ecuador launching attacks. So it's just kind of like he's kind of like unstoppable right now. I know that the Democrats and as well as the Republicans, they're coming together on a bipartisan and voting, to try to stop him and, put a halt to things. But in the meantime, he's just doing whatever. So that's where we are with that. So of course, more to come. More to come. The oil is going to skyrocket. The gas prices are going to skyrocket. But go ahead.
No, I mean that's the thing. They're already saying that all the prices are going to go up, and it's going to be a whole mess of things. But also, it's just interesting that there's a lot of people that are saying this is a long time coming, but also others that are saying, did it have to happen this way?
Right, because there was a negotiation. The deal was made when Obama was in office, and it lasted through Obama, it lasted through Biden, and up until now it lasted. And then all of a sudden, there's no negotiation anymore. Like, what? So yeah, no, we will never know, I guess, really.
The door to negotiations is completely closed. It's not even going to happen. They had so many. I think the problem is that with October 7th, they escalated it way too much, that there's no way that you can negotiate after that whole situation that took place.
When you say they, are you saying over in the Middle East or here?
Over in Israel. When you go and you've had a bunch of your family and friends taken hostage and just killed for going to a music festival. That's it.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. That was I won't even say tragic. Sometimes, there's some things that happen, you can't find the right words to put to it. People coming out in parachutes and just like out of nowhere, just like, what? Right. So, yeah, very unfortunate. And again, unfortunate doesn't even sound like the right word to use.
It is what it is.
That just, again, at a music festival. Just imagine if us, we have music festivals, big ones, whether it be in San Francisco, Napa, wherever, we have huge music festivals. Imagine something like that happening in the U.S.
Yeah.
We can't, we are not at a day and age anymore where we could think that nothing is going to touch our soil and everything is just going to be on the soil of other countries. One day it's going to hit the U.S. soil, and not just these random things. I know something happened in Austin, Texas, where, there was a shooting at a club, and, a guy, he was wearing a shirt on the front of it. It said "Property of Allah." Of course, this happens right when the war that they're not calling a war, they're calling it an operation, but then they keep slipping up and calling it a war. But anyway, he had on a shirt that said "Property of Allah," and honestly, because the world is a stage, I was looking at it and I was like, yeah, I don't know if this is a plant or what. I don't know if this is real or what. Did he really do this, or is this a plant? Like to say, see, this is why we have to do this, because see, look what you know what I'm saying?
No,
So
I
you
get
just
it.
never ever, you don't know for sure. You just don't know for sure. But yeah, we can't think that things are not going to hit our soil, because we are at a day and age right now where a lot of countries, they're not afraid of the U.S. anymore. They look at the U.S. like a joke.
Yeah. So
Here's
the thing. Here's the thing to think about it. Brown University, right? So they had a massive attack that took place. And essentially, they want to, the students, they want to show their appreciation for the kindness of the community to the members of Providence, Rhode Island, by going and putting on a concert, which is interesting.
Oh, really?
Yes. So just on the okay, so I mean we went and we sat there and we started with October 7th, where you go and you had a bunch of people that showed up for a concert and then had a problem. You have Brown University, where people are showing up for school and a shooting happens, and then as a result, hey, let's put on a concert. I think irony is probably the best word of that. And it's like, okay, a night for healing together, but then you have a lot of people in Providence, and it's like, I know there's other groups out there besides Jewish people, but I mean, you go and you hear concert and shooting, and you immediately are like, yeah, I think I'm going to stay home.
Yep, because those are the times we're in. No big concerts, no more big parades that are where you're sitting on the side of the streets and all the chairs are lined up and the parade is going on in the middle of the street. None of that. No more going to the Mardi Gras. People are driving down the street in the middle of a crowd. You just don't. You just gotta. I don't want to say take your chances, because I don't want to seem doom and gloom. I'm not the type of person that suggests hide in your house and, that's the end of your life. You got to be scared of everything. But, it is just important enough to be aware, be attentive, watch your surroundings, and pay attention. That's really the best you can do when you go outside.
No, exactly. But but that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's just funny they're mentioning, okay, this is going to happen on Friday, March 6th. At 8 p.m., doors open at 7 p.m. in a ballroom, tickets available. I just, again, maybe I'm seeing more into this than I should, but it's just fascinating that going to a concert no longer means going to a concert anymore.
No. Want to jump to something a little lighter for a second?
Please do.
Flip back and forth. We have some heavy things and some lighter things. Let's talk about this McDonald's viral situation that's going on with the CEO.
Yeah,
have you heard about that?
I'm so confused. I'm beyond confused. I'm like, the moment that you mentioned that, I was like trying to look it up, and next thing you know, I'm seeing the CEO of Wendy's going and attempting to eat their food, and I'm seeing A&W Root Beer CEO going and talking about a burger, and like talking about how they bite a burger, and that they've got their A&W product with them, and I'm just seeing all these CEOs just like attempting to bite burgers really awkwardly, or whatever products that they have in a really awkward way. So I'm a little lost in why CEOs are awkwardly eating burgers or doing. Yeah, if you could enlighten me.
Well, the McDonald's CEO, he's going viral. His name is Chris Kempinski. Kempinski. It's hard to pronounce. But he went viral after posting a video of himself trying the company's new Big Arch burger ahead of his release here in the US. And in the clip, he referred to the sandwich. He kept referring to the sandwich as a product. So that was rubbing people the wrong way in the comments. And he did appear almost hesitant, while attempting to take a bite. He took like a small nibble because when I watched it, I said, did he even bite the burger? And then he had to turn it around to prove it. But then when he picked it up, I remember he was like, I don't even know how. I don't know how to, like, he didn't know how to hold it. He didn't know how to eat it. He didn't know which way to take a bite, like which corner, or do I just dive right in the middle and take a bite? He just looked really awkward. And, social media users, they picked up on it quickly. Commentators, they were in there saying that his energy screams a kale salad. And it just created a broader conversation about the authenticity, and branding when it comes to, social media. You put the CEO up there, and I just felt like, come on, you should have at least practiced, because honestly, if you don't eat the food of the company that you are a CEO over, and you knew that you were going to get in front of a camera, and you had not tasted this burger before, you should have practiced so that you can at least know what to expect and not have your first reaction be viewed, because we're watching everything. We're watching your facial expressions. We're listening to your voice and how it sounds. And he was like, like, oh, this is good. And then you have your sauce in here. It makes it juicy, and the lettuce and it just sounded so fake. But he kept saying the product, and I was like, what is the product? Is it about the burger? I was like, oh my gosh. So, it's just like he's being mocked, because it's like, you won't even eat your own food. Like, he took a small bite, but I tell you what he didn't do. He didn't take another bite. So if it's so good, like Lay's potato chips, you can't eat just one. He didn't take another bite from that burger. He took a small bite and then turned it towards the camera so we can see where he bit out of it. But it was like, are you even chewing and swallowing it? Come on, dude. So, yeah.
So let me put it to you this way, which I think is going to be really interesting when we think about this as far as the CEO thing. Because I'm watching all these other CEOs doing that. It makes a lot more sense then, because they specifically emphasize about that they need to take a bite of the product. And I was like, what are they talking? I wonder if the marketing team, because they would not have posted this video unless they thought it was going to go viral.
Right. Well,
unless it was live.
But for what reasons, though? Are they trying to call out the CEO?
No. Okay, here's my questions. Did he do it live? Did he do the burger eating live? That's my first question.
Yeah, if you did it live, there's no retakes on that. That just is what it is.
Was it live, or did he make a video and then it was posted after the video was made? That's a very important.
I don't know, but that is an interesting point. But what's the point that you're trying to make about that?
The point that I'm trying to make, he
shouldn't have done it live?
No, the point that I'm trying to make is that if he didn't do it live, and essentially they did a take with him, and the people who are the social media team took a look at that and were like, this is awful. You barely ate the burger, they would have redone the whole shoot. I'm wondering if they saw how bad it was and they said, this is going to get everybody talking about this burger. Because otherwise, nobody would talk about this. Let's make... do it as awkward as you possibly can.
Oh, that's terrible. I don't know. That goes with the saying of, bad publicity is good publicity. Yeah. If they're talking about it, then people are going to want to try it, because not too long before we logged in, I saw two newscasters. I didn't open up the clip, but I saw two newscasters on the thumbnail. And what are they doing? We're trying the Arch Burger. So here you go.
Then that means this CEO is brilliant. Because the question
so then that goes back to what I said is, what if they did see this and it was so terrible, then what was the purpose of posting it and seeing that his reaction was the way that it was? And, it could be, like you said, because here's the thing. Let's think about it. If he did, was really all into it and taking large bites of the burger and everything, then the people would say, oh, of course he's going to do that. He just wants us to, you know what I'm saying? That's interesting.
Yeah, because I'm looking it up right now. Okay. I tried the McDonald's product from that CEO video. Here's my honest thoughts, blah, blah, blah. No, everybody's talking about it. It doesn't look like, from what I can see from the screenshot, that the guy was going live with a chat room. And that there's actual captions that were on it. I think this was curated. Honestly.
You think so?
Yes. Because look how many people are now attempting to go in to show that they can do a bigger bite than the CEO.
Oh, wow.
They're buying the burger.
Didn't I just say the world is a stage?
Yeah.
Didn't I just say the world is a stage?
Yeah. Because here's the thing.
So what you think you're...
No, but this is what I'm saying. Is that it's saying here, Chris referred to the burger as a product, and he purposefully took a really tiny bite, but made sure to emphasize, look at the big bite that I took.
Right. And we're looking at the screen like, what? You didn't.
He's acting like the street man, and the burger is the joke.
Wow. That is a very, very interesting play to get people to talk about it and say, you know what, let me try it.
We're talking about it on this podcast. I wouldn't be talking about the Big Arch Burger. I wouldn't talk about it.
Honestly, I wouldn't. If it was... Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, I don't believe we would be caring about the Arch Burger. That would not be on the top of my list if it was not for this performance.
I guarantee you, if it would have just come out with a regular McDonald's commercial like the McRib and all the other little Mac things that they have coming out, I wouldn't be talking about this. This wouldn't even be a topic of conversation. It's like, yeah, okay, another McDonald's food item. Like, it looks like a quarter pounder to me, and I would have moved on.
Right. I mean,
Interesting.
I wouldn't have even put it past them if they went and they did something crazy of, like, specifically for this particular burger, added in some type of hot sauce or something to go in to make it even tougher for him to eat. So that he would have that reaction. Lemon juice. Like something that really purposefully...
to make his facial expression be the way that it is. And he tried to tough his way through it like, this is really good. Wow, look at this. Got the double meat here and the lettuce. And he said, and it's got that special new sauce. And I was like, what's the sauce?
Right, well, that's maybe it. The special new sauce. There you go. We now know it. The special new sauce was something to make him go and have problems with it. So now everybody now needs to taste test this thing.
That's hilarious.
Why am I seeing everybody buying the Arch Burger and being like, you know what? It's really good. It's very cheesy and meaty.
Wow.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, that's what he said. Cheesy. Yeah, cheesy. And I was like, yeah, cheesy. He said, yeah, juicy. So I was like, juicy. I was like, okay, this is the words he was using. Like he was trying to make it seem like it's really good and something that we've never experienced before. Like not the Big Mac sauce and not the chicken sandwich sauce. It's a new special kind of sauce, And you mentioned something new in sauce, people are gonna try it. McDonald's, it's been around for years, but people are going to try it. But yeah, that's a very, very interesting concept because either way, like we said, had he not been this viral sensation of the CEO trying the McDonald's product, we wouldn't be talking about it.
I mean,
they wanted to make sure they got sales and they're getting them.
Right. But it's kind of like how I went and I talked about the last episode about the Michael Jackson thing. Wait, I sent that to
Oh
you just so
yeah.
everybody knows. So you can go and you can take your take on that. But essentially, it's the
Yeah.
same. It's the same idea. Everybody's looking for an edge right now.
You're right. You're right. And speaking of looking at edges, wait, do you have, because I got another topic. You got
Go
a
for it.
topic in the tech world?
Go for it. Go for your topic.
Okay. So, an edge, right? We're talking about, so AMC, the movie theaters. AMC theaters announced that they're going to have a premium seat strategy. They announced plans to reserve its best seats for members of its paid loyalty programs. Now, get this, CEO Adam Aaron said A-list and Stubs Premier members would receive first access to what the company described as preferred premier seating. Those are quotes. While there would be no additional charge for those seats, customers would have to pay for the membership itself, which ranges from about $18 a year to nearly $28 a month. Okay. And so I saw a video and it was showing how, since they get like first dibs, so they get, basically they can pick like all of the perfect seats, and then, whatever is left is whatever's left. And so it says that this move followed a previous attempt at a tiered seat pricing, and that received a lot of backlash. So they're framing the decision as a benefit for its most loyal customers, but critics, they're questioning whether movie theaters are starting to resemble airline boarding zones, basically. And it's just like, I can't even imagine. I mean, I don't go to the movies that often to pay $28 a month to have preferred seating. I just go to Fandango, pick my seat, then get to the movie theater, and my ticket and everything is already paid for. My seat is already reserved. I'm not paying $28 a month, and then you think about it too. Movies are not even in the theaters that long. I mean, what, 2-3 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe 4, and then they're streaming. A lot of people are like, I'll wait, especially in this economy. Who's paying $28 a month for a movie theater seating, for preferred seating? I mean, some people will, obviously, but I'm not.
Well, you got to think about it this way, and I mean, the one you have to thank for all this is MoviePass. I don't know if you even remember MoviePass.
Back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole concept, I mean, and the funny part is that with MoviePass, essentially the way that it would work is that they bought movie tickets for you, and then you paid a subscription, kind of like Netflix. But they didn't have a deal with the movie theaters. And at some point, it ended up getting bought out by private equity through a stock company called HMNY, if I remember correctly, which ended up going completely bankrupt. But along the way, they also purchased like Movie Phone, and they put up the movie Growing Up Dottie and all these things. Like, there was a lot involved. So now the original person who created MoviePass ended up buying them out of bankruptcy and is now essentially creating MoviePass again, but they're now raising funds using WeFunder, which means that essentially it's taking what was a publicly traded stock and giving it back to the people to go and to purchase. So they've raised $9.5 million right now, but at the same time, everybody's worried that this is going to be a rinse and repeat of the problems that took place with MoviePass when it entered private equity. I know that's a lot to even think about.
Yeah, that's interesting because, again, everybody's looking for an edge and, something different and basically, to make more money and claim that it's for the benefit of the customer. And when you mentioned Netflix, just in your example, this wasn't even in my list to talk about, but I came across a couple of podcast shows that are really, really popular, who got a lot of Netflix deals, a lot of different podcasts. One, The Breakfast Club, to name one huge. They were with iHeartRadio. But a lot of their, they have a lot of viewers that just listen audibly and then listen to the audio. And then they have a lot of viewers who watch mainly on YouTube. Well, since a lot of these podcast shows and most recently, The Breakfast Club, they took a Netflix deal. Of course, you're going to get the big money up front. But guess what? Netflix said you can have absolutely zero social media presence. No YouTube, no nothing. So that's leaving out all of their viewers who would watch clips and watch the full show on YouTube. I would catch up on their stuff all the time. The Donkey of the Day and people that come to the show, that come on the show, celebrities, what have you, musicians, comedians, whatever, anybody, come on the show to get interviewed, whoever you're interested in, you watch. And now they're going to be on Netflix and they're going to lose all of their viewers who watch the show, because who is going to then subscribe to Netflix? People are canceling their subscriptions. They're not really adding to their subscriptions at this time. Again, everything is coming back to the economy, but, or the economic state, but now people are going to have to now pay a subscription in order to listen or in order to watch their podcast. A lot of people are not doing that. But yeah, Netflix said, no, we want all the view. We want all the money. We want all the things that can come in rather, as a result of this show. So viewers now have to log into Netflix, or they will, and pay a subscription to watch their podcast. And it's just like, wow. And they're in a bad deal. Now they feel like they're in a bad deal because, yeah, you got the money, but look at your viewers. Viewership is already going down because nobody's going to do that. I mean, some people will again, but a big bulk of your audience, they're not going to do it. So whether it be Patreon and Netflix and all of these other paid type of platforms, subscription type platforms are kind of taking over. Go ahead.
No, so the Breakfast Club, essentially, what it seems then, they're taking a risk in that they have an opportunity for a big payday right now, but they basically believe that they can handle the amount of expectation of people that are going to want to listen to them, which means that they believe that they have an audience that loves them so much that they're willing to go into dish out money, which they may that might be a thing. We don't necessarily know.
That might be.
That's the problem.
They're going to have to do they're going to have to do something different than to get people to pay for a subscription just for that purpose. Because, I have Netflix, but I can't say that if I didn't have Netflix already and wasn't already a paying subscriber, that I would now become a subscriber because I care so much about watching The Breakfast Club. Well, I catch them maybe streaming, but I'm not subscribing to watch their show.
But it might be a case where it's not necessarily considering that they want more people to go into subscribe to Netflix. They might just want to entertain the audience that they already have, so that there's a reason.
Or are you saying The Breakfast Club themselves or Netflix? Because
Netflix.
The Breakfast Club they're complaining about it. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's interesting because Charlemagne, he hasn't said anything, but one of the host, Jess Hilarious, she's been talking about it. And I think I don't know if I can't say she's speaking for everyone, but she's definitely speaking up. And I think she feels like they're kind of in a rough patch with this deal because they like to have the viewership of people watching, and they're going to leave off a big chunk. A lot of people that grew with them organically in that way are going to fall off. So I don't know. You just have to see. But yeah, things are changing. I just thought about that when you talked about the Netflix in your example. I just thought about how, things are changing as far as streaming and these subscription platforms and stuff. But
so here's the problem. Here's the problem. Like, if they care so much deeply about that, then that should have been discussion with the lawyers before they signed.
Yeah, that's the question. Like, did you not know? Obviously, you didn't know because they're talking about it now. And Charlemagne, he did talk about it, but in a lighthearted sort of way, to say that this is how they think it should be done. They should allow that, people should be able to still watch, But, they still took the deal. And I don't know if they thought that they would be able to negotiate that later on to say, see, it would be in the best interest if we do, continue to have that YouTube and social media presence. I don't know. But whatever they knew or didn't know, as of now, Netflix is holding tight to say no. And maybe Netflix will change later on down the line. Who knows if those numbers start to not, add up to what they thought. But right now they're like, no. If people want to watch, they got to subscribe.
If the numbers don't add up, they're just going to drop it. They're not even going to care.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. Netflix, yeah. Yeah, they will drop and move on.
And then that is then up to the Breakfast Club to figure out where they go next.
Yep, because they're not with iHeartRadio anymore. But, to circle it back, though.
Well, no, what I was going to say is iHeartRadio might not even take them back.
Maybe not. Maybe not, especially if they got somebody else in that platform in that spot. Who knows?
Yeah.
But to circle back though, $28 a month for movie theater premium seating. Yeah, we're gonna see how that goes. I'll be following it. Because I want to know how that's gonna play out.
So that's essentially the way that I go and I see this whole transaction is just basically gaining a better understanding and appreciation in general of the whole system. And there's just a lot involved when it comes to understanding the nuance of all these various moves that we see. Where it's like, to us, it might seem crazy, but to their investors or to whoever does the math, they have some plan that we just don't understand.
Right, because I was looking at a video last week because, they're saying that things are decreasing. The money is drying up as far as tourism go. And Las Vegas really took a big hit. And it hasn't really picked up since the pandemic. And then now people just don't have money to spend, and splurge like they once did in Vegas and stuff. And I looked at a very interesting video and it said that honestly, Vegas is not really worried because what Vegas is actually turning into is it's not a place for everybody anymore. It's a place for the elite of the elite. And that's why they're not worried, because big money is still being spent in Vegas. And it's like, if it's not for you, it's not for you. At this point, it's like the Mile High Club, if you can afford it, you can afford it. If you can't, you can't. But Vegas itself is not really stressing the way that some of these other, content creators and have been presenting. Vegas is losing money. And it's like, maybe Vegas is losing money for the people that could afford it. But for like people that got the big money, Vegas is really not taking that much of a hit. It's for who it's for. And so I just thought about that when, you were just saying, just seeing how things are changing and these investors, they may not see it the way that, a person that's making, the average paycheck, they may not see it the same way. It's like people that want to complain about restaurant prices. They're so exuberant and so expensive and that these restaurant owners should make it more affordable, where the restaurant owners are saying, well, no, it's no shade, but if you can't afford it, you just can't afford it. But we're not going to change because you can't afford it. It's like asking Harley Davidson to change the prices on their, their motorcycles. No, they're a brand. Either you can afford it or you can't. So go get a Mitsubishi.
Yeah,
kind of, So I think that's like Vegas is turning out the same way, looks like, for now.
No, it's the attitude. I want to go over some. I have a few like quick little tech stories just to kind of throw into this because I feel like it's relevant. There's been a report that there's a higher instance of consuming short form video content, meaning that you have less self-control, and they score lower on test focus sections. And they show weaker activity in frontal midline region of the prefrontal cortex, which is, of course, the brain's focus and control center. So you keep consuming the short form videos, you're hurting your brain.
And you get dumber?
You're getting dumber. The more short form that you're watching.
What? You know what? let me tell you, I can see that because it's like they say the smartphones are making us dumber. Where it's called smart, but you're not getting any smarter because you don't have to use your brain as much because everything is so convenient. There's no critical thinking involved. It's the attention span. It's satisfying that, everything is quick. So with the shorts, yeah, I can see that. Is that where they're going with it? Like, because your brain activity is not happening.
That's where they went with it.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The other thing I wanted to bring up is that people are always talking about museums and archives, etc. There's a video game archive. It's pretty famous. It's got 390 terabytes worth of video game software. And essentially because of the RAM, the solid state drives, the hard drive prices, etc., and because of all this AI driven supply need and squeeze that's taking place in the marketplace, they have to shut down because they're now having to pay $6,000 per month to be able to keep this archive up, and they can't afford it. They're not getting enough donations, which means 390 terabytes worth of video game data is going to go away.
Wow, because
they can't afford it.
So that $6,000 a month, and they can't afford it.
Yes, $6,000 a month. They can't afford it to keep this archive up, so they're telling everybody, hey, until March 31st, download whatever you want to download, and then we're taking it all down. They're not
so when a person downloads it, they'll have it forever once they download it?
Yeah, as long as they don't have a fire or any situation or whatever. So it's like, the only way this stuff can be saved of the 390 terabytes is if enough people decide to download and to hold on to it, which hopefully becomes a thing.
Wow.
But that's history disappearing because someone couldn't handle the archive.
Wow. Ew.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what to say on any of this.
Yeah, I just keep saying to myself, like, just hearing and listening, I'm just like, the way things are just changing. It's just, I don't know. I don't want to say the world is changing, but aspects of the world is changing. I don't know. It's changing. It's disappearing. It's becoming non-existent. It's becoming. I remember when we used to. Remember when we once could. And it's like almost there's nothing in the way to stop it from happening. And then the change happens, and then here comes something else, and it's like before we can even sit and lament about the change or something going away or these archives and things like that, there's something else that's going to come up and catch our attention, and hold our attention, and it's like we are forever on to the next thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the focus. If any of that means anything.
Well, let me see.
Do you have anything more to add to
what do I got?
Fun Fest?
This last thing. I don't know
exhausted
about
everything?
This. But I'll throw this in. So, Trump commented on unemployed Americans at an Angel Families event. He suggested that he would consider sending unemployed Americans to other countries if given the opportunity. What does that even mean? He framed the idea as a response to what he claimed other nations had done by sending criminals or undesirable individuals into the United States. He said he understood the strategy and would implement it if possible. Now, these remarks came during a broader
What does
speech
that
focused
even
on
mean?
immigration policy and border enforcement. The president, he revisited these claims about the 2020 election, repeating assertions that have been widely disputed. Um, but the suggestion, it raised legal and constitutional questions. Currently, there is no mechanism for deporting U.S. citizens due to unemployment. But what a thing to say. I mean, he brought it up once and then he brought it up again most recently. And it's like, why are you throwing these things around? Can you imagine deporting U.S. citizens for being unemployed? Deporting them to where? And but right. It's like, what? What are you talking about? So he just throws these, but you know what? Hey, we can't talk about what's illegal because there are things going on right now that he's done that is considered illegal, like the tariffs, like the current war. So, I don't know, but I couldn't see that happening at all. But that's just
You
the
can't
last
even
little
deport
tidbit
them.
that I have.
It's illegal.
Yeah.
I don't even know anymore.
Right.
I mean, that's basically him broadcasting his ideals of what he wants to see happen next. I mean, what's interesting about just bringing that up, and it's like, of course, now that I'm talking, I'm going to completely forget exactly what I was even thinking about when it comes to that. But, oh my goodness. Oh, now I remember. There was a mention today in the financial sector that was saying that they were discovering a lot of people who are pretty much around my age that are young with families, etc., are starting to tap into their 401ks and their retirement way earlier than they should because they've lost all their options and they pretty much finished maxing out their credit cards. So now they're on to the next thing, which
I
is
can
like,
see that.
hey, that
I
retirement
100% believe it, and I 100%
forced
can
us
see it.
to
Seriously.
that went and said, hey,
People are
this
in
is going
straight
to help
survival
you, blah,
mode.
blah, blah. We need that money now, so we don't care about penalties. Just, we need money because no one's helping us. So as a result of it, what's right? So because they're in that survival mode, it's impacting the stock market in that there's shares of stock that are being sold that aren't supposed to be sold, which means it's impacting and making the economy look worse than it actually is because people are selling retirement shares that they shouldn't be selling in the first place.
Oh, well, hell, what? I mean, I don't even know what to say. Again, people are in survival mode and people are doing what they have to do because, like you said, no one's helping. The tariffs are in effect. Everything is expensive. Inflation is up like it's nobody's business. Again, like we talked about, oil is getting ready to go back up. So we're going to see a surge in the gas. I mean, no matter what, the American citizens are paying for it all. We are getting the brunt of, and the impact of things and decisions that are being made, and we're just left to deal with it. So I can completely see, believe, and understand that people are pulling on their retirements and 401ks and whatever they can in order to make it, in order to survive.
Well, and then what's happening is because all these people are going and pulling on this around the same period of time whenever typical bill time is, as a result, you're finding a bunch of stocks that shouldn't be going down, and people who do have money sweeping in and picking up those stocks at a bargain price and making a killing on it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. It's
Yeah.
a cold game.
We are not financial advisors, though, so
not at all.
do not trust anything we say,
Absolutely
blah, blah, blah.
not.
Do your own research,
Absolutely.
etc.
Absolutely.
But no, but I'm just saying, like,
wow.
if you're watching this trend, you're seeing people who are desperately just selling who shouldn't be selling.
Yeah. Shouldn't be, but circumstances says otherwise. And then you got those who are
Yeah.
sweeping in like, I'm on it. You selling it? I'm on it. Wow.
Yeah. It's a totally different game when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
but there you go. Those are my storylines. At least I think that at least covered a lot of information.
Yeah.
It's amazing how we go from one place to the next or whatever. But hopefully that at least gives everybody a better idea, because I know myself, it's tough to go and to keep track of all the news stories taking place. So I appreciate these conversations.
Absolutely. It's so much that's happening. You want to flesh some of it out. You can't get to them all because it's really nonstop. But you flesh out what you flesh out. Some of the things that are on my list I didn't get to because we ended up talking about other things. With the whole speaking of, and you mentioned, and that's just how things flow. So
exactly.
I'll bring it up at the next time we log in. And who knows, I might not. We might be on to something else.
There's going to be news stories. There's too many news stories. That's the problem. There's just too many stories going on. I feel like this is the real neighborhood conversation that's taking place. So you're getting a real understanding of exactly what's happening. So there you go.
Oh, man.
That at least gives you the peace of mind of understanding what's happening.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
No, definitely think it's time to log out.
Yeah. I'm about to log out and get back again to this crazy world. And I will talk back with you the next time we log in. So I guess I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Have a good one. Logging out.
Okay,
Bye.
logging out. Bye.